Hi, hello, hi, and welcome to all our hearts and minds. Thank you again for tuning in. We are here to discuss all things that have been on our hearts and minds, the good, the bad, the concerning and uplifting, or just straight talk. We're your hosts, Kimmy, our passionate heart.
Yeah.
Then there's me, Jeanette, our mind and chronic overthinker. Let's get into it.
Yes. We shall.
Okay, so we're back with another episode. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's 1 week after Canadian Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
So we had that last week, and so some familial commitments. So we didn't have an episode last week, but we're back and ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just jump into our checkup. How's your week, my friend?
It was pretty good. I mean, it was a short week, which I have grown not to like.
Mm.
Because in terms of work, when you're going in, it's like now I got to double up. Like it's super busy. But you know what? For the most part, it was nice to spend time with the family for Thanksgiving and to just give thanks. And so I'm going to try to keep that going. And so I had a pretty good week. I can't complain. How about yourself?
Yeah, I had a pretty good week. It was short, but it was quiet. I think usually with these long weekends, people use it as an opportunity to take vacation. So there's a lot of
Hmm.
people in and out of the office. So it was not too bad actually. It was pretty good. Considering some of the changes I've been dealing with at work, it was a good little
Hmm.
uh
Hmm.
relief of a week.
Right?
So yeah, and then what else? I didn't really do a big Thanksgiving, just kind of hung out with my niece's baby. It was babysitting a little bit, but other than that, didn't really do too much. But yeah. So sounds like we're doing good. Not crazy, which is nice. It's nice to have weeks where it's like, it was a week.
Right?
It was a week. It happened.
You know?
So it's good.
Yes.
I've been okay. So we're doing good,
Hmm.
and yeah. So we'll just jump into our headlines, I guess, and for the week, and we'll start with Elon Musk and his robots, his iRobots.
Oy vey. I'm telling
um,
you.
so earlier this week, did a he unveiled his latest version of robot, which are called Optimus Robot. I mean, I know I've heard him talk about it before, but I think it was the first time, I think, for me, where he saw them in real live action in an event. They had them there serving drinks, they had them on the
Hmm.
red carpet. Um, it was very interesting, and it's described as a, excuse me, personal android that walks upright with a near natural gait. Don't know about that.
Come
It
on
ha-
now. Natural? We're using the
yeah,
word natural?
quote unquote near natural,
But that
but
word
it's
should not even be in play. We're talking about a robot. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So like
So
we need to keep
mhm.
natural like on the other side of the spectrum. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, but
this is not that.
there's well in the I think in the robot race
Right.
out there, it's going to be the company that puts the most natural humanoid.
Effect on it. Right.
Yes, and
I get
obviously
it.
we're not comfortable with it, to your point, but
No,
that's
not
going
at
to be
all.
whoever is the person who can get that quote unquote naturalness is
Right?
pretty much going to be the leader of the pack. But yeah, so it has it handles tasks requiring fine motor skills and speaks with the sort of nuance and tonality that you'd expect in a Zoom chat with a colleague. And I did see some videos of the event where he had the robot serving drinks. It was
Wow.
very awkward, and the conversation was actually pretty good. That was what's scary. I think the
See?
naturalness of the
Mhm.
movement is definitely not there. But what was, I would say, impressive or alarming? I don't know if I'm impressed or I'm alarmed, but is the conversation that it was holding
Yeah,
with
yeah.
the people interacting with it. I think that was the most interesting. But its lips don't move or anything, so it still doesn't give off anything
Yet.
near close to natural or humanoid, which good. Keep it that way.
Right?
Um and so yeah, he revealed them, and I heard the price is 30,000,
Mhm.
30,000 per unit for the 20 to 30,000. It's called the C3PO. And but to me, the way it's like, I don't think it has enough real life functionality. Okay, it could serve drinks, can it clean? Like, I just don't think I know enough about it where I'm
Mhm.
like, I'm sure somebody rich who has a rich person, like, yeah, throwing down 20, $30,000 for something like that as a toy. I i could see that happening, but the everyday average man, I think it would need to be a lot more functional, because that's literally the cost of a vehicle. So
Well, what
yeah.
I'm mostly afraid of, not afraid, but I'm
Mm,
really concerned with this robot thing is
mm,
taking jobs. That's what I'm most
mm.
concerned with. They're grooming us. They're grooming us to be used to having them in our society.
Yes, of
It
course.
started out small. Remember, I think it was last year. They had them at a banquet or something, or a
Mm,
baseball game or something, and they were sitting in the seats with
mm,
everybody.
mm.
So I'm concerned about the job part. That's
Yeah.
what I'm concerned about the most. And um, you need to go out and watch I Am Robot or I Robot with Will Smith. And I'm sorry, but a lot of what was in that movie is steadily happening, because there's a part in the movie where it's like the robot that Will Smith befriends.
Mm,
How is that possible? Anyway, that he befriends shows that he's the old model
mm,
and they've upgraded the model. And so, but the simple fact that he had empathy, that he had things that you would not expect a robot to have, when you have a conversation, you can see that they are picking up social cues, that they
mm.
know social cues and how to deal with them and how to answer them. Which is, it's alarming. I am interested only because of curiosity, but to be quite honest, um, I'm a little afraid of where that it will go. And Elon Musk is steady pushing forward. Like, he's not. Nobody is shaking him up. He doesn't really
Yeah,
care
no.
about
And
humanity and all this. Like,
mhm.
he doesn't
Yeah,
really,
no.
he doesn't really. He's just about the dollar right now and
Yeah.
making inventions and stuff like that. And
And yeah. Yep.
yeah, but overall, I don't like this idea because I
Yeah.
feel like they're gonna start coming for jobs that,
Of course.
you
It's like, it's
know,
kind of like evolution. When we think of the evolution of humans, or our just world right now in general, globally, it's one of those things that I think, even if you look at all the sci-fi movies
hmm
and books out there, this revolution is going to happen, and it has to happen.
yeah,
But
yeah,
it's like, it's going to happen, and then we're going to go back. So it's going to happen and be a disaster.
right,
My opinion, and I've read, and the things that I've read, and what I feel more feasible, and this is just
hmm
my point of view. Is that we're going to have this AI robotic thing. I don't know if I'm going to be alive to see it, but it's going to happen for humans, where
hmm
they do kind of take over. But then there's going to be like a revolution. So there's going to be the
right,
revolution of them taking over, but then there's going to be a counter revolution of humans getting back control. Obviously,
right,
this is going to be generations and generations from now, but
right. But we're
that's the
steadily making our way there. Like,
yes, yes. And honestly, I question. I think in our lifetime, if I were to guess, in our lifetime, what we will see is AI as a model, as in digital, in a digital world, definitely coming into itself, but robotics actually
hmm
like taking over, like the actual physical manifestation of, let's say, an AI form. I don't like actually taking over, no, but being functional, maybe. Yes, maybe being functional. Yeah, maybe 20 years from now, if we're seeing this now, we could see a lot better realistic functionality. Like, you can go to the bank and like a robot's there. Maybe next 30 years, I could see that happening.
I think 30 is a little far out because, no, I say that only because within my own lifespan as of now,
Mm-hmm.
I've seen the evolution of technology and
Mm-hmm.
how rapidly it changed,
Yeah.
right? So like just within my own lifespan so far, I've seen quite a bit change.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I don't know. 30 years. I mean, Elon Musk can't. He's steady on the. He's
I think
steady
when
trying
I
to
say
push this
30 years, I
forward.
think I think it's going to exist, but I think in terms of mass consumption. Like when I mean like it's
Yeah.
mass, like the
Right.
everyday, it's a part of the everyday person's life
Right. Right.
versus just the
Right.
elites that can afford a $30,000 robot for
Right.
the
Well,
sake of
because
having.
it's so cheap,
Mhm.
right? And when I say cheap, I mean $30,000 is not a lot of money for a huge corporation,
No,
right?
absolutely not.
Like
Yeah.
if we were to think McDonald's, for instance,
Yeah.
McDonald's can afford to put them in the front lines taking people's orders. They can
Hmm.
afford to do that, right?
Hmm.
So, but I mean, hey, we'll see what it is. I just need Elon to maybe just slow down just a little bit. I
But
need
if it's
him.
not him, it's gonna.
It
We just
is.
hear.
It's
Mm,
gonna happen. I know it's
mm,
going to happen, and he's leading the pack, right?
yeah.
Um, in terms of innovation,
I
he
would
is.
say he's leading and being more public about it. I feel like
Yeah,
there's,
okay,
yeah,
I'll give you that.
because
In
there's.
terms of the Tesla car, I think he needs to go back to the drawing board about that one. It's still
Mm.
driving off of cliffs and stuff. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
but you know
So
what? That's the power of a name because as much as the bad press and stuff we see about it, that car is still.
very much taking over, especially here in Canada.
Oh yeah,
Like
because it's getting
everywhere
more
you
affordable.
turn,
It's getting more and
everywhere
more
I
affordable.
turn, like if you were to just look at a parking lot, you'll get at least a dozen Teslas in the parking lot.
Yeah,
At least, at the very least. And so
because.
technology is going to happen whether we like it or not.
Mhm,
I just hope that the right people that are forming these new technologies keep humanity in the back of their head. You know what I
mhm,
mean? Like when you're doing, I get it, it's all money, it's all business, I get it. However, I'm hoping that somewhere they keep humanity in the forefront. Like just
mhm.
don't forget us for the dollar. But anyhow,
Yeah,
Elon, he's gonna do what
I was just
Elon's
taking
gonna
a
do.
look at the top selling electronic cars, and there's four models in the top 15 selling electric vehicle cars, and the most popular one in North America is the Tesla Model Y. So it's still top selling in various categories, but the number one is the Model
Hmm.
Y
Hmm.
vehicle. So they're still selling hundreds of thousands of units despite the bad press. But I think there's a lot of Elon Musk, whatever his PR strategy, as chaotic as he is, he's doing something right.
Yep.
Okay, so we're off of that. The world's changing. What are we gonna do? But it was interesting to see them in action in the press release and stuff in the videos. Second, we had here Whitney Houston's mother, Cissy Houston, passed
Hmm.
away. I think, and if not this week, it was like the week before. She was 91.
It was
Um,
October 7th. She died.
October 7th, so last
Hmm.
week. For
Hmm.
recording on the 19th. Yeah, October 7th. So she passed away at the age of 91. She was living in hospice care. She had Alzheimer's disease for a little bit since leading up to her death. And I mean that family, the Cissy Houston, Whitney Houston, they came from a very musical family.
Yeah.
um Obviously she was a minister. She was a big minister of their church in New York, the New Hope Baptist Church. She had a
Hmm.
singing group with what's her name, Dionne Watkins, with her cousins Dionne Watkins, called the Drinkard Singers. So they started with gospel, but they were big backup singers for like artists in some big R&B artists back in the day. And something that people always talk, like, there's also rumors and swirls about Whitney Houston and her family and everything. Some things have come to be known as true, and some are just, at the end of the day, we don't know.
Right.
They're just,
Hmm.
we don't know. But one of the things that we don't know, but is kind of like, if you observe, that was interesting to me with Cissy Houston, is that people always said that she was jealous that her daughter like had the
Career.
success, this
Yeah.
career that she had, because she herself had wanted to be, had a full-time, wanted to have a full-time career as
Mhm.
as a singer. But the best I think she did was be like she was like a backup singer, a very much respected and many well used and or in demand backup singer, but
Mhm.
a backup singer nonetheless.
Right? Mhm.
And I often wonder about that, because I think that there are some mothers. It's strange, but we can't lie. There are some mothers, and they usually are narcissists or have narcissist traits, where they are jealous of their daughter. It is
Right.
actually a narcissist trait to be
Mhm.
to have that type of thinking. And
Especially of your offspring.
yes, exactly. That's what I mean. And that was something said about her, and because she was so strict. But I always wonder, is it because she was just so strict and had that like really deep religious background, and so she inflicted that on Whitney and her expectations of Whitney? Or was she actually like, so that's one of the things we never know, right? So I
Right.
never really put that on her, because we don't know. She could have just been like one of those mothers who were, or people who are just so stuck on
And now that
appearances. Yeah.
everything has been coming out about the music industry,
Hmm.
I'm glad that she was. She
Hmm.
probably saved Whitney from a lot of situations, that she might, just shouldn't have gone through.
Or she could
And
have caused more problems
well, she could have. She could have very
too,
well
like
done that
psychologically.
psychologically to Whitney. Yes, but
Yes.
I
Yeah.
think that she psychologically um was doing damage already way
Yes. Yeah.
before Whitney actually
Became
became a
famous.
star,
Yes.
right?
Yes. I
So,
agree.
um
That's kind of where I'm, even if she's not, um, wasn't jealous, like forget, okay, let's take that out of it, because that's like something people put on it. But it-
mhm.
that could be there's roots of things, right? So I don't know the root of it, but she was very tough on her, to the point of, yeah, like why did Whitney like dabble in drugs at a young age? Is it the
Mhm.
environment? Was it the home? Like there's all these weird, there's a lot of like lore, let's just say,
Mhm.
around her
Mhm.
family and that whole situation.
Yes, and I
But
think that being
mhm,
that her mother, was a pastor,
mhm, um,
that's a conflict in itself. Like
yeah.
she's
Sh-
singing secular music, her mother is a pastor.
I don't think she's a
That's a
pastor. She's a
conflict.
minister,
Oh,
minister of
sorry,
music.
minister. She's in the
Mini-
church,
yeah.
right? And that already, right? Her mother is probably
Yeah, they
watching
care about,
every
you're going to
little
be up
thing that
about
she's doing.
appearances. Yeah, but it doesn't seem to come from a genuine place, like usually, because you just want to keep up the appearance of certain things, right? But
Right.
anyway, she passed, and it's just sad because, um she lived a full life. She
Yeah.
died at 91, but I think it's also like very,
She lived longer
um
than her daughter.
yeah,
So,
tragic, and her granddaughter.
and her
That's
granddaughter.
that's the
Wow.
tragic really thing about that family, is that she lost her daughter and her granddaughter before
Mhm.
she left this world. Like that
Right. And
is,
been a long time.
yeah, yeah. Bobby Christina, it's been a while, even since
Yeah.
Bobby, because Whitney was 2012, and I don't think it was more than 3 years before, three or
After
four.
and her
Yeah,
daughter Bobby Christina died. Yeah.
that me, trust me, generational. Listen, if there's something
Right?
that will prove generational curses exist, it's that
Right?
for me. Like that
Right?
was. Anyway, well, rest
Right?
in peace, Cissy Houston.
Yes. But
Um,
one thing I did want to mention is that when you think of all of the greats, think of all of the greats, and when we hear about their parents, none of
mhm.
them were easy on them.
No, that's true.
You know? So I'm not saying it's right. I'm not excusing the behavior. But all of the greats had parents that were kind of a little psycho. You know? Just a little
Hmm.
bit. I
Yeah,
mean, look at
that's true.
Michael.
Hmm.
Look at, you know what I'm saying? Like Whitney's not that far. Like when I think of every huge major star in music, they had parents that were kind of, a little not all there.
Hmm.
At least that's what it appeared to everybody else. But anyways,
Hmm.
you know what? R.I.P. to you. Rest in peace, Cissy Houston.
Okay. Something a little bit more lighthearted.
Mm-hmm.
So for some reason, Safaree decided to pick up himself
Oh,
and
God.
well, he has a YouTube channel, and now
Mm-hmm.
that he does vlogs or whatever, and I guess for one of his video posts, he decided to go see Nicki in her Gag City tour, and he filmed that whole process from deciding to do it, from what he was going to wear, and everything in between. And I think it was I don't know, I think it was a Miami show. Yeah, the Miami show.
Yeah, Safari, you already lost one, bro.
And he wore the vest. He wore a jean vest, which was funny because if you remember that documentary that she did with him, where he comes into the room and is criticizing her outfit, she's wearing this like cropped white blazer, and
Yeah, I
she
remember.
you
Mm-hmm.
know when she shuts him
Yeah.
down, he's like, "What? You're wearing a jean vest, buddy? Like, get out of here!"
Right?
Which is so funny. But anyway, he went and he was having looked like he was having the time of his life, but like a lot of the fans were like harassing him and stuff like that, and so he left early. And she did a little lap dance for her husband on the stage. I don't know if that's planned, but she did that. And she also went on a little diatribe. So she knew he was there. And of course, I think Nikki's the kind of star where not a lot gets past her.
Nope.
Um, but anyway, I just thought it was silly and
The
funny.
man was
And
vlogging about what he's gonna wear. I mean, like, shit.
yeah, it was, he's
Of course
looking
she's
for
gonna know.
content. Yeah.
Yeah, she's
And he
gonna find
said,
out. Yeah.
for the backlash, and in the post video he said that I'm just proud. A lot of you guys won't understand, there's no malice. I'm just proud because we're and to me that is yeah, I get that, but it's also content.
You're
But
right. Mm-hmm.
to me
But
it's
he's
just
still
silly.
trying to eat off of Nikki. Like, really?
Yeah, that's yeah.
Really? Come on, no.
But
I
he doesn't
mean,
really have much else going for him. So I, in a way,
no.
and if in a way, I'm kind of like, yeah, what else is he supposed to do?
Right? I know. He has a crazy baby mother coming after his backside, so,
Hmm.
he has to try to make some money some way. Um, but Safari's a trip because, you know, uh, uh Safari was with Nicki Minaj for quite some time,
Hmm.
and that wasn't meant to be, and that's okay.
Hmm.
It wasn't meant to be. And so now she's with her husband, and which I feel different ways about, but
Yeah.
whatever. Hey,
Yeah.
that's her husband, and she's giving him lap dances on the show, and here's comes Safari. Safari needs to go sit down someplace. He needs to worry about his baby mother while he's going to concerts. Like, please. Okay, Safari. He trips me out because it's like you had a good thing, you let it go. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
now you're in the crowd with your jean vest on. Like, get out of here. Get out of here.
But I gotta be honest, as a piece of content, it is kind of, and like basically it's good clickbait. Let's put it that way.
Sure. Yeah, but will you keep me coming to your like you get me to click and then
Yeah, I know, right?
right? You got to keep me here. But anyhow,
Yeah.
Safari is too much. Safari,
Um. Next we have okay, so 2024. So
right?
something that's been a recurring theme
Oh,
in 2024 is
telling
we
you.
always go back to that Cat Williams video, that Club Shay
Because he
Shay.
set the tone, Richard. He
And
set the
then, so
tone.
why I brought that up is this week it was announced that radio host Wanda Smith, of that infamous video of that Atlanta radio interview with Cat Williams,
Gnarly fingers.
roasting Wanda. So unfortunately, she had an illustrious career as a radio host at Atlanta, but she has been come to known as that radio host that got completely obliterated
Hmm.
um, by Cat Williams, unfortunately.
Yeah, career done. Yeah.
And so it was revealed that she passed away recently at the age of 58, shortly after her birthday. I think that you said
Hmm.
it was a day after her birthday. And she was actually on the radio with Frank Ski for over about 15 years, from
Wow.
1998 to 2013. Um, she was on that show with Front Ski. And then obviously we know the viral interview from 2018, which caused a distance between her and her co-host for
Mhm.
obvious reasons. And you know what? Despite I would just say it is a little bit so anyway, her co-host Frank, or her ex-co-host, did a
She was
video
on there for 20 years, you know. That's a
yeah, for a
long,
while, a
long
long
time.
time, and then she got fired. And then the way she didn't even leave, she got fired. It was kind of crazy. But what he did say, Fransky, because nobody really knows exactly like what was going on with
Mhm.
her, but
Mhm.
she did. Fransky did say he heard that something was going on, but she was a private person. So maybe he does know, but he's not saying. But he's like, he said he did know that I heard she wasn't doing well.
Mhm.
She was a very private person, and I never expected that. It was tough. I never expected that, meaning her to pass. So she did know she wasn't doing well, but obviously maybe people didn't know how bad it was. So I don't know if
Mhm.
it's going to come out later what was going on, but I guess it was people who were close or who saw her knew she was maybe ill.
Mhm.
And so yeah, she passed away. And a lot of people in the comments were it I would say, hey, it's the internet. The internet is going to internet, but
Right? Mhm.
the announcement of her death, the comments were just pretty much quotes from that Cat Williams interview.
Sad.
Unfortunately.
That's what your
Unfortunately.
whole career boiled down to.
And
Like,
I guess yeah, what can we say about that? Like, I mean, in one hand, it's like literally the world got to know this woman. Listen, the people in Atlanta or people who know urban radio probably knew her as this illustrious radio host and with
right.
a good career, long career, and whatever, and respectable, whatever. But the
Yeah.
world got to know her through that Cat Williams interview,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
and it wasn't a great introduction because gnarly fingers, like goodness, $12 jewelry, like goodness. You know what I'm saying? So
But sometimes I try to think back and like, is there anything she could have done differently?
yeah, she could have not told Cat Williams that she wasn't going to ask him about the stuff that she ended up asking him about.
Right? Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, I'm sorry, I don't like to speak ill of the dead, so
Mm.
my condolences to her family.
Yes,
I'm
yes.
sorry that she passed away at the age of 58, the day after she celebrated her birthday. But let's keep it a whole buck right now. You went on that show to try your best to just in a very nasty way. You
Mm,
tried to embarrass Cat Williams.
mm,
It backfired, and you lost your job after
mm,
20 years of being there.
mm,
That's the real deal. Because you had a conversation with Cat Williams before you went on the air, telling him all the things that you're not going to do. And then as
and
soon as you get on the
she
air,
asked him to be on the she asked him to
she
go on the mic. He
okay,
wasn't
and
going
he
to go on
wasn't
the mic.
right.
Mm,
Okay. Uh-huh. So, Cat Williams, like honestly, I keep referring back to his interview with Shay Shay because the man spoke things that we are now seeing even now. Like
mm.
we're still seeing it, right?
Yeah.
And he addressed in his interview with Shay Shay what happened with Wanda,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
unfortunately she tried to pull a fast one, but he was quicker,
Mm.
and she literally got destroyed on live air. Can you imagine at your job? Listen, Kat. Okay, now do you see why Wanda and her husband was trying to find Cat Williams with the gun? They were vexed, okay, because they understood in terms of comedian, he destroyed her,
Mm.
and so yeah, I'm sorry to see that she went, but let's just keep it real, people. Cat Williams, she tried to embarrass him, bamboozle him, and get him in a position where it was, fight or flight. And he
Yeah. Yeah.
fought and
Mm.
won.
Whew.
You know, I'm just I'm sorry.
Yes, it is. And that's why I'm like, as much as people will say it's insensitive, it's like there's literally a large amount of people globally. Okay, this thing
Mm-hmm.
went global. This is not no
Global.
local thing. This shit
Global.
went global, and like I've heard like people like Joe Rogan talk about. I've seen like big platforms talk about this incident, and unfortunately, that's how the world got to meet her. And this has nothing to do with her death, but I'm just saying when you die, people always go back and they want to look at your work. And yes, see, she had a respectable career, but unfortunately, this overshadowed
Okay.
one poor decision,
Mm-hmm.
which was your public figure on air and on YouTube.
But
Has
I want to let's just play a little game, for instance.
okay.
So what if she did get Cat Williams and backed him in a corner and embarrassed him?
Mhm.
Wouldn't it have been his career?
I don't think it would have been his career. I think she still
I
would have
don't think
looked
she's
bad.
smart. I don't think, sorry, she wasn't talented enough
No,
and quick
absolutely.
witted enough. But
Mhm.
let's just say that she did.
Mhm.
Let's just say she destroyed Cat Williams. Wouldn't he have to swallow his pride and find an alternative to his comedian career? Like, I
It's
think,
I
Cat Williams built a career too, and she tried to destroy it. She did. She
it's hard.
purposely brought
You're
him on
painting
there to try to destroy his career.
you're painting a scenario, but it's so hard because he was so on lock before that, even
Right.
that interview. It's like I've seen him
Mm-hmm.
do so much already.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think even if
Yeah.
she did embarrass,
No, well,
even if
she
she
thought
didn't,
that she was the smartest one in the room. And she
yeah. And
found
it's
out that she
like,
wasn't.
and even if like in your scenario, even if she did manage to do that, or she had the skills to do that, well, maybe that's just me. I don't think that one incident alone from her could take down a giant, like somebody's
Right.
perception of
But
her
she
of him, because
attempted to.
she attempted to.
Yes,
And
because
to
she
answer your
she
question,
obviously she
I think she
obviously
still would
thought,
have. I think she still would have came out as a villain. Um, in that scenario that you just painted, because it's like, bitch, what the fuck? Why do
right?
you have this energy? Sorry.
What I didn't particularly like is that after she tried to go back to her coworker that she tried to go back to her
Frank
coworker,
Ski, who I'm talking about. Yes, you're right.
right?
Yep.
And explain it away, and how come you didn't side with me, and how come you didn't do this, that, and the third? But you're the one that put yourself in that position. So
Hmm.
what was your coworker supposed to do? Like, what were they supposed to do? I don't know. What would I have done? I don't think I would have. I think I would have been laughing right beside Cat Williams.
Yeah, because she literally dug a hole. It's like you must have known when you opened that door,
Right?
Wanda. When you opened that door, unfortunately, you needed to know your plan of action from there, because what was Frank supposed to do when you opened that door?
I
Like
don't
what?
know. And then you coming back to cuss him out for what? What was he supposed to do? Like,
Yeah.
so I don't know.
Okay.
But you know what? She just passed
R.I.P. to
away.
her, and
Exactly.
condolences to her family.
Exactly.
Um, and hopefully they can give her a respectable send off that can somewhat, it may not shadow this event, that interview, but bring a new light to her, the great things that she did do, but leading,
Exactly.
yeah. All right.
Hmm.
I was going to talk about Pastor Keion, but I think we're short on time, so I'll leave that. But I'll just quickly just mention it in case anybody saw it. But
Hmm.
Shawnee O'Neal's new husband, Pastor Keion Henderson, was going, excuse me. It was an old sermon of his that went viral again in the last. You okay? Kimmy, you okay?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I don't know
Okay.
where that came from.
Yeah, so he was preaching in the video, and he pretty much said that uh, he had some comments about giving to the poor. And he said, "Let me tell you something. The poor will be with you always, and there is no blessing connected to blessing the poor other than getting back what you gave to them, but no multiplication. Multiplication is segregated for tithes and offerings. When you give to the poor, the only thing you do is help them, but you don't help yourself." So
And this is
I'll
a
stop.
pastor.
This is a pastor. I'll stop there. There's more, but I'll stop there. I don't care if there's more video footage.
Thank
I don't care.
you.
There's no way you could have tidied this up in the end. There's no part of
Nada.
this. This does not make sense. And then in the tweets, there's people were giving all the quotes, the Bible quotes that tells you in the Bible the opposite of what he just said.
Right?
And if I were to try and interpret, not I'm not interpreting anything. If I'm trying to understand his goal and putting out this weird message, is like, oh, you want you're obviously every pastor has to try and get his congregation to make sure they're contributing accurately to their tithes or offerings for their church, whatever their home church is, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's not the way you do it. It makes you seem very ignorant, and this is not the first time I've seen him pop up with being a very saying very ignorant things and or doing very ignorant things with his congregation. And it's like, why are people still going to this man's church? Why is this man's sermons like still all over the internet? um I just Anyway, I saw a quote which pretty much encapsulates everything I feel, and we can move on because
Mm-hmm.
there's not much to discuss here. Like, I don't think there is a black and white. This is like a gray area. This is like very
I
clearly
have
wrong.
one thing to say quickly before you put that quote in.
Yeah.
Pastor Keion, I think you need to go back to the drawing board. I think you need to be counseled by older elders in your church. I think that Jesus made it real easy. He
Mm.
made it real
Mm-hmm.
simple.
Yep.
It's man that makes it convoluted. So you saying that in a time when we should be helping our brother and sisters, like, you need to be careful with what you're saying, because your congregation might know you, but the guy walking through the door looking for God doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
So when you make statements like that, I need you to think that through. I need you to, maybe talk to somebody about what your message is, because people need help right now more than they have ever needed help. So I think that's a dangerous statement to make. Um, Maybe your congregation, they're more sheep and they're willing to follow you. But to make that kind of statement, you are 100% wrong. 100% wrong. And so I would suggest that maybe you go back and read your Bible a little bit more before you stand up in a pulpit and tell people not to help other people.
Mm.
Because Jesus didn't do that. He helped everybody he came in contact with. So it didn't matter what they were like or who they were like or where they came from. Okay? He helped everybody he came in contact with. So miss me with that. I can't even believe Shawnee married this man.
Oh, he's a clown. Well, somebody said a lot, but I would just say to wrap up because you covered pretty much a couple of things that they said already.
Mm-hmm.
But essentially, this is my feeling: preaching well, being a good preacher. There's a lot of popular
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
charismatic preachers, and being true to God are not one and the same. They're not.
Amen.
So when you're in a congregation, that discernment, if you're in your Bible and your
Right?
word, you should have discernment on what's going on in the leadership of your church. And that's I'll just leave it there
Right?
because that's
Mm-hmm.
a very political thing, but I'll leave it there. All right. We had quickly Kanye West. He's going through some drama, but two things. He's been accused by one of his ex assistants for sexual harassment,
Yep.
and also uh um well, a string of allegations which were very, she also,
Mm-hmm.
she was an assistant, but she was also a previous former OnlyFans star,
Yep.
which would explain a lot because I
Right?
think I've talked about this already with Kanye in his late, like, Kanye is an unknown, like, porn addict and sex
Mm-hmm.
addict. So to me, any allegations like this, I'm not necessarily surprised. And when I saw the photo of the girl, I'm like,
Right?
I don't know. And again, I'm not victim blaming. I'm not victim blaming because no matter what she looks like, no matter what her previous job was, if she got hired to be an assistant, she shouldn't be in a situation where,
Right?
these allegations that came up. But I don't know if he knew if she was in a, if I don't know if she knew she was was she hired to be an assistant or what? Like,
Well,
you see, maybe.
supposedly they're saying that Kanye was the one that told her to start an OnlyFans. That's what they're
Mm,
saying.
I believe
Um,
that.
I could
Yeah.
believe that 100%.
Yeah.
We all know that Kanye is a porn freak. Like this man,
Yes.
he like
He's
hello,
told us
he's had
many
his
times.
full wife on boats in Italy giving him
Yes.
head. Like, come
Yeah.
on, man. We should expect this from Kanye. However, what I don't condone is that you're putting people in situations where you're using power against them.
Yes,
That's what I
exactly.
don't condone. And so, unfortunately, Kanye, you're mentioned with the likes of Diddy right now.
Yeah.
But your wife, soon to be your ex-wife, is saying
Well,
deuces. She's out that bitch. She's like, yeah, enough of this.
well,
Okay.
it's so funny because we're recording Saturday, and
Mhm.
there's photos of them having dinner in I think he's
Mhm.
in Japan right now. But I do think that's gonna come to a close, even though
Yeah.
I don't know if this is saving face right now because they're being seen together or whatever, or you never know. But even if they are fine now, I just don't know how this lasts, just based on the scenario, because he clearly has a MO, I guess,
Right.
when it comes to women. And that's just, to me, not sustainable. Like, especially of a woman who's younger. Like, if you got
Right.
a woman who's like established and comfortable with herself who agrees to your nonsense, Kanye, that's one thing. But you're getting a girl who's young, she's gonna wake up. Like, I think
Yeah, and I think
Bianca,
she's waking up. Mhm.
yeah, because I think she's in her. I don't even know if she's 30 yet. To be honest, I don't
I don't
know.
think she's 30. I
Let
don't
me
think
see
she's
how old
30.
she is, because I do think
Or if she
she's.
is, she's just past 30, like 31,
Yeah,
32, maybe.
yeah.
But Kanye, Mr. Kanye, I just need you to get a grip of yourself. Like, I really need you to get a grip of yourself. I don't know who is going to be the person to help you, but I just feel like he's made a mockery of himself, of a lot of things, like the
Mm,
church, Christianity. Like the things that he says sometimes are really bizarre. Like really sorry, excuse me, really bizarre.
hmm
And I do hope that she divorces him,
hmm
because there was at one point I was just like, this man is like going out of his way to embarrass this woman. Like,
it's public humiliation, as they
yeah,
say. Yeah.
literally,
hmm
and there was many times I want to say blink twice if you're all
hmm
right. You know what I mean? Like I felt like there's something really odd about their
hmm
union.
Yeah. But
Well,
she is, yeah, she is 29. She's turning 30 next January.
you
So
know,
if they've been married to you, so he would have met her when she was 27, 28.
yeah, and I think they were together about 2 years.
Yeah, they've been married 2 years.
So I mean,
So I kind of see that awakening happening sometime in the next couple of
hmm,
years. If it's not now, it's going to happen.
right?
So right now it looks like they're patching it up, whether it's for media reasons or they actually patched it up. But they've been seen back together recently. But knowing him, we'll hear about it sooner or
Hmm.
later. All right, and then finally, what do we have here? We had the Obama's message. Obama's message to black men. The Democratic Party has been specifically going public with policies and messaging for black men who have been pretty loud, um
Hmm.
in terms of their displeasure. I don't know, that they just are not a fan of Kamala Harris for
No,
whatever
because she's
reason,
a
or
bull-faced
the
liar.
Democratic
Hmm.
Party, her and the Democratic
Yeah,
Party.
they're all bull-faced liars. They're
So
liars.
and online they've been very vocal, and I think so at an event, uh Kamala, sorry, not Kamala, Obama,
Hmm.
Barack Obama, um was speaking at an event. I wonder what the event was. I was trying to see what the actual event was that he was speaking at. while at a campaign office in Pittsburgh. Okay, he was at a campaign office for Harris in Pittsburgh this month, and he made these comments. He asks if they were planning to sit out the election. He suggested, and then I'm summarizing.
Yeah.
I wanted to say, oh, here he says, and you're coming up with all kinds of reasons as excuses. Part of it makes me think that, well, you just aren't feeling the idea of having a woman as president, and you're coming up with alternatives and other reasons for that. What else? Is there anything here else here in the quotes?
Well, no, Obama. It's because this woman is lost her, like she's out to lunch. I have never heard of this woman in all the interviews I've seen
Kamala.
Kamala in. Okay, she hasn't said anything.
Mhm.
She said a lot of nothing, right? And so what I don't particularly like about what Obama is doing is that he's preying on black men and trying to force them to support what he wants to call a black woman. I don't believe that she is black. And if black men want to have a voice, they can have one,
Mhm.
just like everybody else who's been having a voice. So I just didn't like how he kind of isolated apart a demographic. I just didn't like that. And I feel as though you should try to maybe talk about some policies, maybe have actual things to say that might sway the votes of black, voters, black men. So I just don't like how Obama did that because it felt like here's a black man trying to tell other black men that they need to support a black woman. And there's a lot of controversy even around her being black. I don't believe that she's black, but hey, whatever. We're not even going there. At this point, I don't care if she's blue, black, or purple.
Yeah.
At this
Yeah.
point, I just need to hear some policies. Like, I just need to hear something other than you talking around in circles.
Yeah. We don't care about the
Because
blackness. We all
at
know.
this point, she could be blue, purple, green,
Yeah.
yellow. I don't give a shit. I just need to hear something. I need
Yeah.
you to come up with something. Like, I need you to take your job seriously. You know what I'm saying? Like, actually have something that the American people that do support you that they can hold on and put their hat on for a second, because there's nothing to even keep her supporters there. Like,
Mhm.
she hasn't done anything to show me that I should sway how I feel about anything. So I couldn't imagine actually being a supporter.
Mhm.
um Obama, I think you needed to sit this one out. I think that the way that he was coming across was very condescending, was very it was very rude, very
Mhm.
rude. And I don't think that you should do that at this stage in the game. You need as many people to vote for you as possible, so trying to segregate a particular portion of the population just wasn't the move.
Yeah.
That's what I think, at least. I just don't think it was the move, because I think if anything now, you've pissed off a whole demographic of people that are already pissed off. So
Yeah.
you have kind of like cemented this now. So, I don't think that was a wise decision, you
Yeah.
know?
And I think as they say, most people, like about 90% or 80 to 90% of people already know who they're going to vote for, and there's no amount of campaigning or what you're going to say that's going to change that. They made up their mind for however they decided to come to that decision. They've come to that
Mhm.
decision. So at this point, that's why they always focus on the swing states, because you're going to focus on the states and the areas where you have influence and sway on people's decisions.
Mhm. Mhm.
And actually, Pennsylvania, I believe, is one of those states. Pittsburgh is in Pennsylvania, so I guess
Mhm.
that makes sense that he had that speech in Pennsylvania and nowhere else. But to your point, yeah, I don't think from the beginning I've said that I don't think the Democrats should focus on race.
At all.
Because the black people were pandered to when Biden got voted in,
Mhm.
and they didn't deliver on some of the core things. They delivered on some things, but the core things that, especially following George Floyd, which is the black hate crime bill. Oh no, that can't be.
Past all no.
So
I
that's a
think that's the
big
last. That's the last ace. That's the last card that they
that.
have in their back pocket.
Yes, and because that's why a lot of people were kind of basically trying, quote unquote, trying to hold their vote, as they say, right?
Hmm.
And people had that concern, is like a non-vote is a vote for Trump.
Hmm.
But again, there's nothing at the end of there's nothing wrong. At least we know what the issue is. We know what the issue, why black people want to, quote unquote, hold their vote.
Right.
And I agree that this Obama saying this isn't going to change anybody's mind. And like I said at the beginning, just like I didn't want them to focus on Trump, I want them to focus on what they plan on doing, what they want to do, what they want to accomplish, and just do that. Because you can play dirty with Trump when you're doing the debates, talk shit to him, whatever, that's fine, because that's what
Hmm.
he's going to do to you. But I think in terms of appealing to your voters, strictly on what you're going to do and what your voters want and what you plan on doing for your voters. But anyway, so that happened. So we'll move on. That's our headlines. One last
Hmm.
thing, and it's just music news. We haven't talked any music news in a while. There's
Yes.
a lot going on with music. So first, GloRilla's new album
Yes.
has come out, and there's been a lot of buzz, and I finally
Hmm.
myself listened to it. It's called Glorious.
Hmm.
People
Yes.
who don't know, her name is Gloria Hallelujah.
Right.
That is her literal,
Literally, that's her
her
middle
birth
name.
name.
Hallelujah.
So yeah, and so I'm like, listen, there's a lot of buzz. I need to listen to what's going on here.
Right?
And it actually is a very good, solid listen.
Yeah,
It's a
it's a
very
decent
solid,
decent album, I would say.
decent
For
album. Yeah. Yeah. She
yeah.
had some good features. She has a gospel song that everybody's talking about called Rain Down on Me, featuring Kirk Franklin, the Maverick City Group, and Kira Sheard. And yeah, it's solid. I like the opening. I like the opening intro. She obviously has some singles that we've been hearing a lot of recently. So those
Yeah.
singles obviously were on there, and I enjoy them. The ones I didn't hear, that I didn't know about, I like the song she has with Lotto. The song she has with Money Long is very good.
Yeah.
She has a touching song about her baby father. It's not called that, but it's on there.
Mhm.
And in general, and she has Glow's Prayer. It's very good first album. She's had a lot of music, but I think this is her
Mhm.
official studio album. And kudos to her.
Yes. There's quite a few songs on there.
Hmm.
You mentioned the ones that
15,
I
just
like.
15 tracks, 15 tracks, which I
The,
like.
yeah,
No more
you
than 15.
yeah, it's a good listen.
Yes.
The ones that you had mentioned
Hmm.
definitely are one of my they're up there for me.
Yeah.
Um and I think that honestly she's different. There's something
Hmm.
different about her that's
Hmm.
really intriguing. And I
Yes.
think a lot of people are intrigued by her for some reason.
Hmm.
I know I am. And
I think it's just like a charm. I think because, like,
she
remember we were talking
definitely
about
has
when
a
she was
charm.
on Club Shay Shay, and I was like, you know what, this little young girl, she's interesting. She's ratchet, she's tough, but there's something. Some people have a light about them. I don't know. Like
Yeah.
you said, we don't know what it is, but there's something, there that you want.
Right?
Makes you root for her.
Yeah. And everybody loves an underdog story.
Mhm.
So
Yes, that too. Yeah.
and I think that she's coming up. She's coming up in the ranks, and I'm to be quite honest, I'm actually interested to see where she goes. I'm actually
Mm.
interested to see where she goes. I think she's gonna go far. I really do. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then the second music news we want to talk about, because it's creating another buzz online, and uh J. Cole, our boy J. Cole, released a single called Port Antonio.
Yeah, I listened to the song. Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty much
Yup.
he pretty much is addressing the beef that came up, that that this beef is such a big story. But anyway, the beef between Drake and Kendrick Lamar, that he kind of
Yeah, he
bowed
got
out
some
at.
strays. He got some strays from it. Some
He
stray
bowed. He
bullets from
bowed.
it.
Yeah, he bowed out of that very early, and that's kind of going to be my commentary on this. I'm just going through the lyrics and stuff like this. He says, I hate what raps become, but do not disturb signs. Can't knock it if I see it's about that dough. They instigate the fuckery because it's profitable, but singing stop the violence tunes when dudes in hospitals. I pulled the plug because I've been there, that was about to go. They wanted blood, they wanted clicks to make the pockets grow. Big line right there. They see this fire in my pen and think I'm dodging smoke. I wouldn't have lost a battle, dog. I would have lost a bro. I would have gained a full and all for what? Just to attain some more. Props from strangers that don't get a clue what I've been aiming for since the age of 14. Jermaine is no king. If the means gotta dig up dirt, if that means I gotta dig up dirt and pay the whole team of algorithm bot niggas just to sway the whole thing on social media, competing for favorable memes to be considered the best or live and rest. The weight of both things, I understand the thirst of being first, but that made them both swing protecting legacies so lines got crossed. Perhaps regrettably, my friends went to war. I walked away with all their blood on me. Now some will discredit me, try wipe away my pedigree. But please find a nigga out there rapping this incredibly. Okay, I'll stop there. You get the point.
Yeah, the point
Um
I got is you're too late. You're too late. Okay,
and
J.
you kind of
Cole.
said it's not even late, it's like you said your piece already. You chose, I think, in his earlier song, or even in his whenever he was on stage, and I don't know if it was a song or if he was on stage and he just said it early on when this started happening, and I was like, okay, that's you, bro. That's fine, that's respectable. But doing this now, people are mad. Me personally, I don't. I'm happy with it. I'm always happy for a J. Cole song dropping or album coming out. So I
Yeah,
don't
because
have it, and I'm
he's a
not.
dope artist.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
I'm a woman. I'm not thinking in that. I'm not thinking in that way of the hip hop heads, but the hip hop heads are pissed. Okay, they're
right?
pissed. Okay, they are mad. They're like, J. Cole, what are you doing? Stop this
I
now.
was a little when I heard it too though. To be quite honest, I was a little ticked off because I was like, bro, this is dying out. Okay,
Yeah,
this is
why?
dying
Don't bring it
out.
up.
Like
Don't bring it up.
no, I'm going to the. We're at the point where we won't hear "They're Not Like Us" in every damn store. I'm seeing it
Yes.
in commercials. I'm hearing it in the store. You're going in the grocery shopping and you're hearing "Not Like Us," not like, bro. J. Cole, I just need you not to start this war again, okay?
A
Please, please, because there was a lot of casualties. You
lot of
understand?
casualties. Yeah.
So please just keep it to yourself. You're a dope artist and you were able to describe the entire scenario in your song. And I see who you side with. It was kind of
Mm,
obvious. But you say that they're both your friends, but it seems like you're siding a lot with Drake. That's what it seemed like to me.
mhm,
So I don't know if you should start this up again. Please don't. Please, because Kendrick just came off of Drake's neck just the
mhm.
other day. So please, I need him to hush up. And where were you at the time? Like where were you? That's why I say it's too late. You know what I mean? Like it's died down when we needed you to say something.
Mm,
You there was crickets, just crickets going on. Um, but I guess maybe he wanted it to die down so he didn't get lost in the sauce. I don't know. I just thought that okay, really though, really, Jay. There's so many other things you could say right now. You know what I mean? That just won't start another war. Like I don't know what Kendrick is gonna feel about this. Because
mhm,
there were parts where it seemed like you were siding with Drake.
mm.
It I don't know. That's what I got from the song. There were certain
Yeah,
parts.
as a biracial brother, there was some songs. There was a couple of things in
A
there. It was
couple
like,
of lines where it felt
mm,
like you were kind of siding with Drake. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And but the song was good though.
Oh yeah. There's one thing he's in the zone now. He like I'm a fan. He's in my top 10 in
Yeah,
terms
and
of
I could say he has a high pedigree.
yeah,
I agree with that part. You can't erase his pedigree because he's done so much in the music industry.
yeah.
You know,
And
and set
mostly
his
by
own
himself,
path.
to be honest. I think that's
Yeah,
one
to
of
be
the
quite
things about
honest.
him is that he was one of those artists like who for the like for there's a few of his albums where he had no features at all.
Right?
And he
That's
could
hard.
still and
That's
he could
hard.
put out a fire album. Like, listen, a feature is on like, I love first thing I'm gonna do is check out the features of the album. I love to see a feature because it's interesting. But
Hmm.
it's also a feat to create a very engaging album
Right.
with no features, which he's done a couple of times actually.
Right? And that's where you know he has real skill.
Yeah. So, all right. So that's our music news. We're gonna jump
Yeah.
into our one and only segment today before doing our call out and wrapping up.
Yes.
So we are going to talk about. We're gonna do a wagwan for real.
Wagwan for real.
Yeah. And in this segment, we look at stories and topics that just don't add up. They don't make
Mm-mm.
a lot of sense. We hear them or we see them and we have to ask the hard question, like Mama would I see. What
Right?
a guan for real?
For real.
And so this topic this week, we are talking about the phenomenon of Jaguar Wright getting on live television with Piers Morgan
Pierce Morgan, people.
to spin to talk about all of her interesting stories. And we're not going to get too deep in the content, but we do know these are the two big topics that a lot of YouTubers channels like to talk to Jaguar about. And that is obviously Diddy, obviously a relevant topic right now. And that's exactly why she was probably the producers found her to be on their show. And she pulled out she called out Jay-Z and Beyonce in the show.
Everybody.
She called out
Everybody.
everybody, but the main thing, the main
Right.
headline was Jay Z and Beyonce.
Yep.
And where Morgan got slapped on the wrist was Jay Z and Beyonce. And
Mm-hmm.
so I was just scrolling my phone as I commuted to work, and I was shocked when on the Shade Room they had the headline saying that Jaguar Wright made an appearance on
Couldn't believe
Piers
it.
Morgan. And I was like, what?
On whose show?
On a legit television news show
The
or the
hell?
topic show? They got I'm like they got Jaguar Wright found
Jaguar
herself
Wright?
on a legit like platform.
The same one that's been sitting on the blue couch half the time. Listen, I couldn't believe what I
Shouting and
heard.
screaming. And here's what I'll say. So you know what? First, I'll just say that she was on there, namely, they wanted her because they wanted to talk about Diddy, which she has been doing online for, for a couple years at least now. And so, fine. And then she must have talked about Jay Z and Beyonce. I don't know what she said, but something
Oh,
along
she
those lines.
said a lot.
Well, let's just all I know is that she's bucketing them all in the same
Well, one thing
category.
that I will point out is that she said
Hmm.
that they're a nasty couple, the two of them.
Okay. So she bundled them all together like Jay Z and Beyonce with Diddy, which right now nobody wants that, right? And so following that, not a day or two later, Pierce Morgan had to get on air and apologize, and because the lawyer Jay Z, the Carter's lawyers, got in touch with I guess the production team there. So he went on and saying to say editing interviews is not something we do lightly at a show called Uncensored. I guess it's the name, Pierce Morgan Uncensored.
Mm-hmm.
But like the proverbial cries of fire in a crowded theater, there are legal limits on us too, Morgan said, and we apologize to Jay-Z and Beyonce. Um, he also said that he mentioned that the legal team, that the Carter's legal team contacted him and added that his program agreed to comply with a legal request to edit out the references to them in Jaguar's interview. And so then following that, their lawyer again came back and said, because he did not, no document or subpoena was sent to him. That's what Pierce Morgan said. So because of that, um, their lawyer came back saying that uh, said a legal ultimatum was necessary and prompted him to take the unusual step of editing the interview. So yes, so that's what he said, but that's not what was
Hmm.
said. So his lawyer says Piers Morgan's irresponsible broadcast filled with lies is so far over the line that a legal ultimatum was warranted. Nobody acting under the guise of journalism can elicit outrageous statements from exploitative situations in an effort to drive clicks and not to answer for that. And then they talk about the apology. But essentially, I'm not gonna the lawyer pretty much said that they contacted in an email and requested. So no, there's no form, there's no legal subpoena or cease and desist that was actually sent. They simply asked, and the Pierce Morgan's team obviously agreed to pull back, or at least apologize. I don't know if they edited it, but he
Yeah, they
definitely.
did. They
Oh, they
edited.
did.
They did edit it, but it was already out in the atmosphere.
Yeah, it's
Like
out there. Yeah,
it's
so I don't
already
know if
out
they
there.
edited, but
But I think
they.
they probably did that just as more of a good faith type of thing that they really were sorry. Um,
Yeah, I think if they believed, yeah, I agree. I think if they really felt like they had like, for whatever reason, if they did a little bit of due diligence in whatever source, say it's not Jaguar, whoever it was, it could be Jaguar, it could be anybody. But I think if they did a little bit of fact checking or credibility checking, whatever it is they normally do to make sure that there's some credibility or validity to the story, I think they would have stuck by their guns. To your point, but
mhm.
because they know that they didn't, they found somebody who was popular who was talking about this online, and they let her rip.
And that's what I don't understand.
They let her rip, so
That's
that's
what
why they
I
were like,
don't
okay,
understand.
we'll comply.
But what I didn't get about it all was that nobody in the Pierce Morgan camp went on the Googles, went on the YouTubes, put in Jaguar right, listened to her interviews. Like I understand the majority of her interviews were with, the urban community,
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
get it, right? I get
yeah.
it. However, you didn't see that she just popped off at the mouth. You didn't see that half the time the interviewer didn't even have to ask a question.
Right?
My girl just kept going, just kept going. If you let her talk, she'll talk,
She'll talk.
right? So I didn't understand. Nobody decided to vet this one. Like nobody said, you know what? Let me pull up let me pull up a video of
Mhm.
a previous interview with her. Like I'm sorry. I
Mhm.
think what happened was they wanted the spice, they wanted the
Yes,
pizzazz, they wanted the
yes, 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 yes.
entertainment, right? They saw, oh, everybody's
They saw,
talking about this Jaguar,
yeah,
right?
and
Everybody,
they saw all the views that she's getting
right?
on that blue couch. Yep,
That
yep.
she on the same blue couch and every other couch, anybody's couch who she's
Yeah.
on,
Mhm.
she makes them a lot of views, they
Mhm.
make a lot of money.
Yes, yes.
However, you didn't see that this woman is hot at the mouth.
Mhm.
Nobody did say, you know what? Let's talk about some of the questions. Let's have a pre-show, okay?
Right?
And let's have a discussion about these questions right here, okay? And we're gonna tell you what's a no, right? But I don't think they would have got her on the show if they did that, to be quite honest. And so I know I'm being, humorous about this, but
Yeah.
nobody in his camp said, you know what, let's investigate this lady more before we put her on our show.
Yeah, this is big. This is a massive platform with commercials and shit. Advertisers,
Right?
like, you guys, like, this is not like YouTube can get away with that. Like
This
a,
is
a
big Pierce
broadcast
Morgan
television show.
show. What the
Yeah.
hell is going on here? When I saw that she was on the Pierce Morgan show, I nearly did a flip. You understand?
I was
is
like, is this
going
for
on
real?
here? Is this real?
But
This is
that's why I
real.
love your comment. That's why I love your comment. You said it perfectly. It's like they apologize because they knew they been knew that like they didn't do their due diligence with
No, they're no. I think they're trying to make it look like they didn't do
Mhm,
their diligence, but in
mhm.
actuality, they wanted the
They
pizzazz.
wanted it. Okay, I get. They wanted the
They
okay.
wanted the pizzazz. They wanted the entertainment. They wanted the flippant mouth. They wanted all of it. Okay, they
Mm.
just didn't expect her to go that deep far. She went a little too
Because
far.
they did bring. Yes, yeah, that's true.
Right? So they didn't watch all of her videos. They didn't do as much diligence as they should have done. And I think they didn't do it because they really didn't care. They wanted the
Yeah.
pizzazz, they wanted the entertainment. But then the Carter family came knocking because when they knock, you listen. So as we can see, because the next damn day, Pierce Morgan, which you very rarely will see him do
Rarely.
this, okay?
Yeah, he said it himself. Yep.
Very rarely does he apologize. That's why he has a show uncensored.
Hmm.
Barely apologizes. But he made sure he apologized quick, fast, and in a hurry. Okay, edits and all.
Hmm.
So, but like, let's just keep it real. Pierce Morgan is not in that demographic where he's really going to watch her interviews.
No, of course
He's
not.
not. He heard, and the thing is, she's anybody that is reporting on the community or urban issues or
Hmm.
whatever, hip hop, whatever. They could be white, Chinese, doesn't matter.
Hmm.
If she goes on their platform, right, she makes them a lot of money, a lot of views, a lot of people paying attention, and I
Hmm.
think that Pierce just he didn't
Or his
want to do
team. I don't even. You're right. I don't
diligence.
even know about him. His team is probably whoever is on his production.
But Pierce Morgan, like, look at him. He's vocal as shit. Like, I can
Mhm.
see him in the meeting before the show starts.
Yeah, I
So,
think
did you
he's gonna
prep
vet
her?
it. Of course, he's gonna vet her. Of course, but I'm just saying in
You
terms of
know,
them like finding her, like
no,
whoever
right.
found
I
her.
don't think that, right. Because
Mhm.
nobody, like, if you weren't a part of the black community or urban community, you wouldn't have
Mhm.
known her, right?
Mhm.
But here's the thing, watch the damn video because the first one I saw, I was like, is this an interview or is this a monologue? Because my heifer just kept going. She just kept going, going and going. Half the time I was like, can we get a question in? Can we?
So she was doing what she's doing when she's on the blue couch.
Pretty much.
Okay.
But I will say she was more refined.
Okay. I'm
So
glad to
she
hear
knew where
that.
she was at. She was
Okay.
reading the room and she
Okay.
didn't give
Good.
a shit.
She read the. I'm glad to hear she read the room.
She did because she like when you look at how explosive she was on the blue couch,
Mm,
she was a lot more tamed,
okay.
right? And her verbiage, she didn't cuss. So she was reading the room. She knew where she was at. And she knew that, let me just tell you one thing. If I were Diddy, if I were Jay-Z, and if I were Beyonce, and I found out that this heifer was on Pierce Morgan,
Mhm.
I would be shitting bricks.
Yeah, of
I
course. And
would, because he's
that's why
getting
lawyers
traction.
that's why lawyers were here's okay, so we covered that. Here's where here's a commentary um online and I'll get your thoughts before we move on. So a lot of people in the comments when I saw that post, obviously there's always the comments are very divisive. So there's one side who is like, "Woohoo,
Right?
she made it to TV, right?" There's there's a faction of those people who are just like, "Okay." And
Right?
then there's a faction of people who are like, "Yo, let this mad woman on
Right?
fucking sorry, on Pierce Morgan."
Big Pierce Morgan show?
There's that one faction, and then there's a faction who are defending against the allegations of why the heck would they get wild ass Jaguar White right on Pierce Morgan. And the counteraction is like, well, she's never been to say that she's a credible source is that she's never been sued. She's been talking about these people for a while now, and she hasn't been sued. And then right, so that's like a big thing. There's like a big faction of people saying that, right? And
Mhm.
then when Pierce, then obviously when Jay-Z's lawyers got in touch with Pierce Morgan and to be like, whoa, 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 now, whoa there
Right?
now. But to me, that makes sense. Here's my argument. To me, it's like, why would a woman, like somebody, sorry, there's lots of like these internet channels and stuff
Mhm.
that talk about stories and celebrities, and we know where there's smoke there must be a little bit of fire, but there's a
Right.
lot of fodder, there's a lot of discussion,
Yeah.
it gets a lot of clicks and views. Hey, everybody needs to get their juicy content, right?
Right.
So, but Jaguar is well documented as whether, as unfortunately, I think um she's kind of known. It's either you buy into it 100%. I'm in between, but either you buy into it 100%,
Mhm.
or you're just like, this lady is mentally ill and spewing nonsense, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
I'm in, and so that's why I'm like, so if I'm Jay-Z and Beyonce, sorry, yeah, if I don't care what she's saying on YouTube to these clickbaity channels, because they're not, like, again, they're getting lots of views, but at the end of the day, in the grand picture of things, it's a very niche corner of the internet,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
But Pierce Morgan, yes, I'm like you said, I'm gonna call my lawyer if you're
Right?
on Pierce Morgan talking
Mhm.
negatively on me, whether it's true or not. Like, I
Mhm.
gotta address this now, right?
Right.
Here's my point of view on Jaguar Wright. I think when Jaguar Wright first got online and she was talking about her story, I remember very vividly when I
Mhm.
was paying attention to her. She was talking about somebody from, I think, know if it was the group. I don't remember the group. I don't know if it was Tribe Called Quest or another like neo soul rap group. I can't remember the name of it.
Mhm.
I'm sorry. I'm not going to say Tribe Called Quest because it's actually, I don't think it's that. I don't remember the group, but she was talking about a member had passed, and then she was talking about how she was sexually assaulted or abused by one of those people.
Mhm.
And that started her whole tirade into the industry, particularly the neo soul corner of the industry, because that's
Mhm.
where she lived. That's
Mhm.
what she was a part of deeply. And I was like, yeah, that's her truth. And I was like, okay, damn, that happened. This person did that. That sucks, whatever. Like,
Mhm.
I was totally like, she's sharing her story. She's dealt with a lot. The industry has really turned her out, and she dealt with a lot of problems
Mhm.
from the industry to her personal life. There's probably all intertwined, and I was fine. Then she got bigger into, now we're talking about Diddy and whoever, all the big people now.
Mhm.
Big people, which again, where there's smoke, there's fire. So, obviously, anyway, everybody, the thing is with Diddy, it's like, Kim, you could have told that story about Diddy.
Right. I know.
Because these are things we've been here about Diddy since long
From the
time. How
get-go.
long? 19, how long, as we say.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just think that fine, she needs to make money. I actually don't have a problem with her talking about that on
Mhm.
those channels, because that's her
Mhm.
prerogative. If she wants to
Mhm.
be known as that person, and if she want, for whatever reason, I actually don't have a problem. But I did have a problem with her being on Pierce Morgan. That's
Right.
that's that's it. Let's just
Right?
put it that way.
I'm gonna quickly sum up what I think about her.
Mm,
So for Jaguar Wright, first of all, if you listen to a lot of her interviews,
mm.
you can tell that she wasn't just dragged into this nefarious music industry.
No, she was gung.
She had a
You could
part.
tell she had a. You could
She
tell she
says it.
loved it.
She
Yeah, she
says that
said it.
she had a part.
Hmm.
You know, when she was on the Pierce Morgan show, she said before she started talking about the Carters that she was a dominatrix
Hmm.
at one point.
Hmm.
So this is a woman who is not just exposing the industry, but she's exposing herself slowly throughout this entire situation, and how
Hmm.
what role she played in the whole industry itself. So I take everything that she says with a grain of salt, because how can you expose an industry that you helped create?
Or
You
you're a
helped create.
participant.
You
I
were
wouldn't say
you
create. She
well, she
willingly
was participating
participated.
in, yes, but she also created that trauma in somebody's life, right? So
Okay.
she was a part of that, of this creation of destroying and putting and the victim machine that she's talked about,
Hmm.
right? And so you take part in that.
Yeah.
You're just bright enough that you're going to come and tell us all about it so that we don't focus on your part in it and we
Mm,
focus about all the names that you're dropping.
mm.
Now, I'm glad everything is coming to light. Whoever tells the story, I don't care. It's coming to
Yes.
light, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm happy about that. But the fact that this heifer is on Pierce, I was like, okay, I'm starting to see a change in you. I'm starting to see from your first interview when you were on your soapbox to
Mhm.
now you're going down back to award shows and people are seeing you on the red carpet with Rick Ross. This is somebody who you said was a big dick deviant, okay? But you're taking pictures with him on the oh, okay. So now I see you on Pierce Morgan. And now I'm starting to think that there's more to this than meets the eye, right? And how the hell did you get on Pierce Morgan? For real, for real. For real, for real. Like who looked past everything and put you on that show?
Yeah. Who was a
And
producer or
who the
talent?
hell
I wanted
said, yeah, we're gonna bring this erratic woman onto our show.
to
Okay.
and talk about some of the A-listers who
That can
don't want to
destroy
be
us.
who don't want to be connected to Diddy right now
Right?
at all.
At all. Let's just bring her out, right? Okay. So we bring her out on the show, and obviously the Carters are not going after somebody who don't got nothing.
Right? That's my thing.
They're gonna
Yeah.
go after a big fish. You don't go after a small fish. You go after a big fish. So yeah, they're gonna let her talk because, like people like myself and yourself, we use discernment. So
Mhm.
we take little pieces of what she said and we cross reference in our brains with things that we
Yes.
know and we say, okay, that sounds factual.
Mhm.
And a lot of the stuff that she says does not sound factual. And it
Mhm.
sounds like we are in a monologue and we are
The
having
monologue. They're
we're
very well performed monologues, but
very well
monologue.
performed. I mean, this is the music might not be her calling, right? A huge monologue and very theatrical and very dramatic and all of that, right? And so I can see the grain of salt in all of that, right? And I can take away what I will, and like I said, cross reference in my brain with events that I know and come to my own conclusion. Because this woman is batshit crazy if you were to listen to her. Okay? If you were to really listen to her, right? Which I have from time to time. I try to
Yeah.
listen to the batshit craziness, but that's what it ended up being,
And you know
right?
what? It's
So I
it's
don't
it's
know how the
slowly
batshit crazy got on Pierce Morgan,
right, but it's slow. It's interesting tidbit. It's like, yeah, you said that, and it slowly descended into that. Like
right?
it started off where it sounded like somebody who's recounting their trauma and all the bad
Right.
negative things in the industry. So everybody was leaned in, but as she's gradually more and more,
Yeah.
these guys have been trying to get as much squeeze out of her as they can, and obviously, she's gonna take. They're giving
Yeah.
her money.
She's
It's
right.
getting more and more fantastical. Let's put it that
It
way.
is because now we know that you are a dominatrix. You never once
Bruh.
said that till now.
Mm.
You went on the Pierce Morgan show to let that one rip. Like, are you for real? Come on, Pierce Morgan and everybody at the show, they quick, fast, and in a hurry. Made sure they put out apologies. Had the brand Pierce Morgan right there apologizing. The sorries and the sorries. Okay, and it was like, wow, the Carters do have a lot of power because I don't know how the hell it wasn't even 48 hours.
No, it was
You see what I'm
definitely
telling you?
or less. Yes. Yeah. Right.
The Carters had the lawyer on the phone quick time and in a hurry saying, listen, okay, you better shut his ass up. And but it's already out in the atmosphere. We already
Yeah,
seen
yeah.
it. It's
Mhm.
already out there, right? But I do see why they had to respond, the Carters, that is, they had to respond the way they
Yeah,
did.
they did.
And It's just common sense. Like, you don't sue someone who you know has nothing, right?
That's my thing. That's why I don't understand why the internet's take some corners of the internet are taking that and running with it as
Yeah.
a
And
sign.
in terms of suing and not suing her, right?
Hmm.
The Carters are smarter than that.
Hmm.
They're not going to sue her right off the bat, but they have cornered her
Mm.
where they can silence her without suing her,
Mm.
because
Interesting.
now they're going to sue anybody who puts her on.
Yeah, any valid platform, like.
Anybody, any
Mm.
blogger, any
Mm.
YouTuber, anybody that puts her on, they're going to be sending cease and assist. So
Mm.
they might not send that notice directly to her and telling her to shut the hell up, but anybody who will put her on, they're telling them, you better not put her on. You better
Mm.
not publish this. You better not let this out. You better not let this hit. Because if it does, we're coming for your ass. So, in other words, nobody's going to want to mess with her, because a YouTuber, for instance, like where she started on the blue couch, they were just, so that's bread and butter for them, right? So no, they're not gonna release your interview. No, they're not gonna have you come with your outlandish things to say. They're not gonna do any of that because you're not gonna spoil their bread and butter. So
Mm.
let's just put that there. But anyway, the fact that she was on Pierce Morgan, like, I just can't. Pierce, I have a whole new. You're something else, Pierce. Like, honestly, I never liked you to begin with, but to be
Mm.
quite honest, the fact that you're even trying to manipulate and use the whole black community at this point is just, it's a whole level of disgusting. I just don't even want to go there. But anyway, we're not going to go there. We're going to go into the call out. That's what we're going to do.
Call out.
Yes, the call out. And so, we are going to end the show on the call out. So after we've done the call out, we will be leaving. And so this is where we put each other in the hot seat and we ask each other questions and we have to answer them. And so, my question to you, and I think I should put it out there, or I should take this question first. Uh, the way that hip hop is going,
Mm-hmm.
what we've seen in the last decade, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where do you see hip hop 20 years from now?
20. Oh, girl, you said it. Okay, I'm gonna
Right?
let you answer because I'm
Okay,
20.
so 20 years from now, I really do feel that there is going to be an evolution of hip hop. And I think that we are going to get back to a place of, I don't want to say purity, but of real hip hop. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like this generation that's up and coming, and I say that because my daughter, I play my music and she hears my music and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been playing her more and more music from when I grew up, you
Yeah.
know? And she's really vibing to it as of
Mm-hmm.
late. Like, she's really vibing to it and she's
Mm-hmm.
asking me, can you put on this and put on that?
Oh, that's so cute.
She's telling me, what's that song with I think he's Method Man? And I'm like, Wu Tang Clan?
Oh.
Girl, I'll put on Wu Tang Clan, don't you worry. Right? I'm exposing her to music that I used to
Yeah.
listen to, right? And
Yeah.
she's vibing with it. And it made me think, 20 years from now, where will hip hop be? And I'm just thinking to myself, I hope that we get back to a purist, I guess, mindset of
Mhm.
hip hop, where we get back to the nitty gritty of hip hop, what hip hop was really meant to be, right? And not all this extra shit that's been going on. I think that there will be some genres that will fall off, that will be non-existent. Um, Drill music, for one, I
Mhm.
think that is going to take an exit out of hip
Oh yeah.
hop. At least I hope. Um, 20 years from now, I really hope that, these young up and coming rappers go back and see the quality that we had. And hopefully they try to mimic it. So I do hope that 20 years from now, there's a big revolution when it comes to music and getting back to the fundamentals. and using technology in a brand new way to bring all of that forth. I think that hip hop, honestly, I'm excited to see where it can go because I feel like they're trying to find where hip hop is right now. Everybody is like, forget this shit. I need to hear real music, right? And
Mhm.
they're going back and they're listening to real music. And I'm starting to hear more real music being made, right? And not just microwavable music.
Mhm.
So I do think that we are going to see the old become new. That's what I think.
Yep. So for me, I think 20 years is just so far ahead,
It
but
is.
I do because I think that's happening right now in terms of moving away from what hip hop has been for the past, I would say, 10 years in terms of like, and I would call that the future, we call it mumble rap, or but like the futures of the world, the Migos of the world, that style of music. And there's a, like, obviously drill is one of those the new things right now,
Mm-hmm.
but I do think I see a change happening. Just it's stirring up right now. So what you want and you're projecting in terms of returning back to the fundamentals, I think is I feel that's going to happen in the next 5 10 years, to be honest. And so, which makes me, I'm glad you brought it out. I want to talk, I haven't talked about this, but Dochi's album Alligator Bites Never Heal.
Mm-hmm.
She's known for that song Persuasion, and I would say she's kind of reminds me of a Doja and a Nicki in that she can sing a little, she actually sings and raps.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So she's not just, but the raps that she does have, that's, I think, at least 60% of the album is rap, and the last 40% is like nice, some
Mm-hmm.
vibesy R&B kind of sounding stuff.
Right.
But she is going in, and this is a woman, and I hope that's
Wow.
like the ladies are kind of leading it, and I hope
Right.
that there's a male counterpart. And I mean,
Right.
we have some of them. Like there's a guy called it's what's her name? Naomi Osaka's ex, her Naomi Osaka's baby father, Corday, sorry,
Mm-hmm.
Corday. He's a young rapper, male rapper, who's up and coming, and he sticks to the fundamentals. So I think that's happening. It's stirring up. Like the popular people,
Mm-hmm.
these are the people leading the front, and like when you're the first one, everybody's going to think, oh, they're so amazing. And then I feel like more people are going to jump on the
Right.
bandwagon
Right.
in the next few years, and I'm happy. So that's why you asked that question. I'm like, oh, don't worry, that's happening, right? That's stirring up right now. It's
Right.
stirring. It's stirring.
Yeah.
It's not fully here, but the people that I think that are really actually talented, like hardcore, like just straight talent, like they
Mm-hmm.
may not be the most popular, but they are very talented people.
Right.
They're on that wave, so I think it's gonna happen. So
So,
yeah,
well, I hope
Dochi
it
and
happens
Corday.
sooner than later. I do. I do. I just think about how hip hop has changed even in my lifetime,
Mhm.
and so I hope for the best for that. But yeah, so
Hmm.
anyhow, that was my question. Um,
Okay,
I do hope
great
it does
question.
change because I don't know
It's
what the hell
happening.
they
It's gonna
have in
happen.
the
It's
streets.
happening sooner than 20 years.
He's
Trust me.
on.
Trust me.
He's
I
a
believe it's
big
happening.
way.
I see it stirring up. It's happening.
I see an
Um.
interest.
Mhm.
I see an
Yeah.
interest,
But yeah, I
right?
recommend that you listen to Dochi's Alligator Never Bites. Sorry,
Okay.
Alligator Bites Never Heal.
Okay.
Um
Mm-hmm.
okay, so my question was, what is a fashion trend that you hated? Like it was very popular, and no matter what time of like in your life that it was popular,
Uh-huh.
that it was like really, and you did dabble it, you fell for it as well. It can't be one you never jumped on. It was something that you kind
Right.
of got on a little bit too, but you hated it. Yeah, and I'll start. Mine is mid mid waist jeans.
Yeah. Okay.
Mid waist and low mid waist, actually low rise jeans. Actually, forget mid waist. That's fair.
Right. Right.
Low rise jeans and because if you're, listen, I'm a thicker girl since I
Mm-hmm.
was in my teenage years. My hips and the booty is bigger than average. So when I
Use a
put on
woman. Shit.
Yeah,
Use a real woman.
when I put on those low rises, your panty top is
Oh
showing.
my.
Like it was just like you'd have to tuck in your shirt to cover. Like it was a wild time, but that was what everyone was selling, those jeans. And it's just
Right?
now. It wasn't until later. It's like that's no wonder I hated these past ever. It wasn't me. They were making these jeans to be underneath your thing, and I'm not no skinny girl, so my drawers are gonna be showing.
Right?
And so that was really thinking about it. There's lots, but that's one where I'm like, yeah, I without a doubt hated it. I did wear them, but
Right?
looking back at it, I hated it.
Well, and I feel this way about Crocs.
Ah,
I'm
but you
sorry.
know, do you wear them? They can't be
Well,
one that you.
okay, so okay, back in the day, Crocs
Okay.
honestly were just for gardening. You didn't really
Okay.
see Crocs on the street like that. You know what I
No.
mean? And if you did, you looked at people like, do you know what you have on your foot? Like for real?
Okay.
Now, okay, so I felt that way, and then the other day,
Yeah.
right? So I was in the Dollarama, and I
Hmm.
just saw some Crocs, and they looked really comfortable. Like they
Hmm. Hmm.
they looked really comfortable. And so
Hmm.
I bought some from the Dollarama, and I wear it when I shuffle around the house outside and stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah.
But to be quite honest, as a kid, I used to always think they looked clumsy.
Hmm.
I just thought they looked horrible.
Hmm.
Back then, they weren't nothing like they are now.
Hmm.
Nothing like they are now. Like
Yeah. There's lots of
now, it's a big
varieties.
thing. Like Crocs are like a big
Yeah.
deal.
They are.
People are wearing Crocs in the winter. I'm seeing, but
Yep.
anyhow, crazy, right? But
Yeah.
yeah. So I bought one, and I was like, huh,
They're
these are
comfy,
actually
right?
really comfortable. Like they're
Yeah.
really comfy.
That's how they got me too. I thought that as well about Crocs. I was like, you won't catch me dead.
Dead in a one,
Crocs, and the other one, the Australian boots, Uggs. So
right?
Crocs and Uggs are in the same back category for me.
Right? I
Very
just thought they were so
unattractive, very
ugly. Like,
clumsy.
yeah, they make your foot
And
look.
then
Yeah.
I tried a pair of Uggs, and I was like, sorry, not Uggs. I tried them too, but I tried a pair of Crocs, and I was like, you know what? This
The
feels
only
really,
reason
really
why
good.
I'm in the dollar store, I was getting other, like knickknacks, like foil and
Yeah,
cellophane
yeah.
wrapper and all that crap. So I happened to pass by, and they had a whole row, like all sorts of colors, all sizes, all these little knickknack things you could put on it. I didn't go that far. But
Hmm.
I bought one. I was like, you know what? I could just use this when I'm like outside in the backyard,
Mm.
or I just need to run to the car quick and come
Yeah, yeah,
back,
yeah,
or
yeah. They're good for that.
right. And I'm like, they're like 250. I'm like, oh, $2.50. If I don't like them, I'm no skin off my back.
They're obviously not the brand Crocs, but they're
No,
Crocs
they look like
nonetheless.
Crocs, right?
Yeah.
And
They're probably
so
made out of the same thing and everything
exactly,
too.
they
Yeah.
look identical to any other Crocs that you would find out there.
Hmm.
Anyhow, for me, I was like, "Pfft, I'm not putting real money into this shit anyhow. I
Yes.
don't like
Yeah.
these shoes. But I bought them, and I was like, okay. I put them on, and I was like, okay, it's kind of comfy. Okay. Right? And then I saw myself like wearing them more. And I was, oh yeah, now I'm doing more stuff outside, and
Yeah,
my feet
you're
feel good
slowly.
at ting.
Well, yeah, Crocs run me over already. Like sooner than they got you. But
Yeah,
I
no,
actually have
honestly, it's
two,
just recently because
and
I was holding dead strong. You won't catch me in them
yeah,
shoes.
but the way I kind of cover it up is I bought the two that I do have are collaborative pair with this shoe designer Saleh Bembury, and he made like like when they do a collaboration with another a designer. So
Right.
the two that I do have is in his style. So it's like I can pretend, but
Right?
I'm glad I'm like they're Crocs, but they're not Crocs.
Right, exactly. So, but that was definitely one thing where I was like, because back in the day, you wouldn't catch me dead.
Oh yeah,
You
I'm
understand
with
what I'm
you.
telling you?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
would
yeah.
never, ever. But you know what? All in all, I think that was a good questions that we've asked each other.
Mm.
Interesting questions. And so we do hope that your hearts and minds were activated on this week's show. So whether you lead with your heart or your mind, please stay passionate and thoughtful. We'll talk to y'all real soon. Bye.
Bye.